Let's transform!
Okay, to transform Mixmaster from his vehicular alt mode to his combined leg mode, first let's come to the bottom. And here I'm showing you there's actually is a different storage area for the gun. I don't know if that's actually the case, but you could see the tab that goes in the back. I laugh because, you know, I don't like the design how it tabs in the palm of the hand. But I don't know if it's going to show up there, but there is a little slot down there on the bottom of his hip, so you could tab that in. So first, you know, you just want to remove that, and then you could start on the front or the back. So I'm trying to decide. Okay, let's start here on the back first. So we need to open up. So I'm trying the transformation a little bit different. I'm trying not to point everything out. So open this up. You want to lift this up, and then you want to get this out. So first let's come up so I can give you a better view, and then we're going to engage that bottom hinge to lift this up all nice and straight. And then here there is some configuring we need to do. These two side pieces, there are panels that you want to flip down, and then over here you want to now flip these down, and then we're gonna close this piece down here like let me come up a little bit more so I can show you what I'm doing. So then we're gonna fold this piece down, and then we're gonna you know that this piece has it just doesn't fold in. Okay, I'm gonna stop explaining, but there is a tab that you need to get in there to lock it secure. And then you want to fold this back. It's basically giving the thickness of the thigh. So using this just to fold it in to help get that tab in, and then fold that in, and then give those two tabs a good squeeze. And then here, I actually think it's well, no, it's not optional. We do need, this is where it's going to slide in. So now we need to, remember, you need to fold this up, and then we're going to, this time we're going to rotate it this way, rotate it around 180. No, and I think I was wrong. We need to fold this in this way in order for this to go down and in all the way. And I put it in just a little bit crooked. So now I need to open it up because I didn't put it in straight. You could see it's angled that way. So that's a consequence of trying to do things really fast. So close all that back up. So pretend I never did that. And then we can... after we get that tab, fold that back down, then we could push this down, and it's not going down all the way. What did I do wrong? Oh yeah, I think we need to bring out this piece here. Oh yeah, we need to use this. So I technically I did make a mistake. So now you could see this piece is going to go down all the way. So now you could see it's flush for this long hauls connection piece to go in there. And then this is the third time I'm doing it, showing you again. So maybe it helps, because sometimes helps you to remember by seeing it more than one time. And then now this bucket piece, we need to get this out of the way. So rotate this around 180 to get it out. That's the easy part. And then here, I don't know if you could see, you could see the pin, that's a hinge. It needs to lift up. And this is basically a connecting piece. And here, oh man, it's a little hard to get it up. But you could see the attention to detail. They did give you a little hook there for your nail to get in there to lift it up. After we lift that up, then we can rotate this down. And this is the challenging part. Because, yeah, you're going to have to fuss with trying to find a way to get this... to go through. And here, yeah, you could see what I'm talking about. This just doesn't easily go through in there. So here I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to do it like trying to rotate, and this way probably will be a little bit easier. So lift this up and make sure you have the clearance over that little hook thing. See, I'm rotating it. So that's how I'm getting it in here, is to put it in here and then rotate this around, get it situated down, and then here I'm going to rotate. So hopefully you could see that that's a tab. The green's a tab, and there's a purple slot. And then once you need to get it lined up, and tab it in. That locks that in place. And then we can close this back up. You need to engage those double hinges to get them straight for these pieces to fold them. And then these little pieces, now I know what those big ones were for, because you could see it's a tab. It's gonna lock it in place to secure this. So lift those up and tab it in, and then now we got this secure. And this piece here, I don't know, I think we could keep this little hook down here, right? Unless it goes up for whatever reason. I'm analyzing it now. I don't know if you really need to do that. You can leave it connected or bring it up. I'm not sure, but yeah, just pointing that out. And then now we can work down here. So first, to help me to know how to transform it, like I always told you, I have to rely on reference. So I'm thinking in my head the image, what it's supposed to look like. I mean, we all know Devastator's foot, this should be rotated this way. Now the question is how, and then how do you get it in that position? Well, first of all, we know that we do need to separate it and manipulate these parts. And then there is all these little adjustments to detail. So starting up here first, we need to secure this even more. Here's the attention to detail. You could see in here there's these purple pieces you want to slide up on both of them. So pushing in, pushing this way, and then lifting it up. And then there's these green pieces that are actually going to lock these in place. So you need to bring these up. After you bring this up, then I think you need to bring these green pieces, or did I do it? Oh, no, actually, there's actually a step before that. Now I know why it's not lining up. See, so I'm glad I'm doing it this way, because I'm showing you I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but the most important thing is to know how people respond to mistakes. You have to learn how to take responsibility, own up to it. And you know, don't blame shift, like blaming somebody else, something for doing it. It's that purple hip piece, you know how you slide it up, you know, now you need to slide it back down. So here it's that 2-click thing. I only heard 1 click, and it should go down like 2 clicks. I don't know if it went down 2 clicks, but here I'm trying to push it down. And well, one way I could tell is if this piece is straight. And it is straight, so somehow I must have didn't hear the first one. So now we lift up those purple pieces, and then this piece comes over. There it is. See, that's how I figure out and learn from my mistake. Owning up to what I did, and then asking what I did wrong to know, you know, instead of, you know, breaking a figure and then not learning from breaking a figure, and then by blame shifting. Anyways. Okay, so now we need to adjust all of this. So, okay, now I kind of know, but I'm trying to share with you my thought process. First, I'm imagining, you know, from the stock image, you know, what it's supposed to look like. And my preference, I like more the tune look, so I'm going to hide those grills. So first, and then I'm just, some things I'm just telling you the obvious. I mean, once you lift those up, we need to fold these down to help bring this up a little easier. And in order for this to move, we do need to open up, you know, that sliding bar. So here you need to make sure you get a good grip and pull with force under control to pull that piece out. And then here, if you remember, that's why I suggest watching all my reviews, because I point out things I can't point out again in the other reviews. But yeah, this needs to be slide out that way, which I mentioned in the previous transformation review. And now I'm doing my transformation a little bit different this time. I'm doing, you know, I'm going back and forth, instead of doing one side and then telling you to do the other. Because I think it actually helps when you can see and then see it again from a different perspective. Okay, so now we got that. Now we know this thing can rotate, right? So first, I'm laughing because I am about the tune accuracy. So I am going to rotate this so it's all green, plain and simple with the little toe. And then do the same thing on this side. I'm going to rotate it up a little bit. And if you remember from my other review, I showed you need to bend this a little bit in order to rotate it, bring down that toe. Then we could bring it back down. Now we can setting it up for the more tune accurate version. And then here, let's see, this should now be able to come up. And I'm trying to figure out why. Like I said, this is, yeah, I didn't really take the time to transform this in advance, because now I'm also trying to figure out how I can save my time from making reviews. So this does need to rotate up, but now this piece is in the way. So now I'm trying to remember, okay, yeah, because it comes down. So fold those down. And so you see, that's why I'm purposely doing it this way, so you could see how I figure things out when I make mistakes. Because my point is, I'm not perfect. I'm not like an expert transforming review. Who is, and most importantly, who actually makes claims that they're an expert at transforming figures like MGO? Seriously, take the time to think about that logically. Whether it's transforming figures or anything else, what kind of character disposition of a person is going to make claims, self-proclaim themselves as being an expert at this or that? Seriously, it's an ego thing. But anyways, you saw what I was doing. I was folding those pieces up. And then I think we need to now close up those side pieces we pulled out. And then this one I was telling you pulled out this way, so you're basically doing the opposite, tabbing, getting all those tabs in that I mentioned on other transformation videos. That's why I suggest, because I'm not going to point out everything in just one video, because I tend to, you know, mention things that I already said in previous videos. And then now here we need to get the heels for more stability. That's what these are for. So in here, there's these little, you know, those locking piece tabs for the knees. And then if you see, this does come down, and so you could see it comes down. But here you need to be careful here, because you don't want to break this little hooking tab. But it is going to come down all the way, and you could see that tab is going to, that knee, locking knee tab is now another tab down here for the Devastator's heel. It's just gonna, when you bring it down, it's just simply gonna go in there. So now you're gonna do the same thing on this side. You're gonna first pull this down and then lift up that heel connecting tab, and then we bring that up. And I think, oh, then the wheels, fold those up, and then I think we now have Mixmaster transformed into his combine mode. And here is a look at Mixmaster in his combine mode. So here you could see what it looks like all around. So first, let's compare this with the animation model. So you could see how well they captured the toon aesthetics. And I laugh because there's some good and some bad. You know, first, you know, I like the attention to detail here. They gave you the option to have like the G1 toy look with the grill facing the front, or you can have the G1 cartoon look with, you know, it all plain here with the toe sticking out. But yeah, I'm admitting I knew that this part bothered me, the purple back piece, but I didn't say anything because, you know, I didn't have it in hand. So I actually had to reserve my criticism on this until I actually had it. And I do have some criticism to say. I mean, I'm speaking to the fact that, you know, this is not toon accurate here. The color, it should be green. And, you know, after you know that this is really the back of his chest, so you don't really see it, they could easily fix that with paint. But, you know, like I said, with every criticism, I try to understand, you know, Mastermind Creations does not focus on painting the figure like fans, toys, and X-Trans bots. And so, you know, and you don't know why, but my guess is it, you know, it has something to do with cost, and that's just the way that they're producing figures. But they do, you can't see it here, but they do put a little bit of paint, such as the detail on the front of the chest. So yeah, that's just one of my complaints here. But like I said, every criticism you have to ask be smart enough to ask questions and to know why. Don't know why, but that's my best assumption. They don't use paint, and so they probably chose not to put extra cost to put paint in there. But yeah, it looks good. Now, in terms of the, okay, let's speak to the engineering, because this is why both Scrapper and Mixmaster are really well done, well made, because just manipulating the part, I mean, this helps if you're kind of like a product designer. That's why I share little bits of things here and there that I learned. So if you actually go through the process of taking your time to figure out how to transform it, and then you understand why this moves this way, how and why they did it, you can appreciate it. That's why I told you I always appreciate the figures, because I can clearly understand from my education and experience in product design, you know, how and why the, you know, things were done like this. I mean, this is not an official company, but you know, this is a third-party company that's been making figures a long time, so you can learn just from doing things over and over and slowly improving. And I'm starting to ramble again, but my point is, every little thing that I'm manipulating to put this together, I mean, even things like here, they focus, the details is what's important in product design. They focus in on the detail to lock and secure things. You know, I mean, this is obvious, you know, putting the heels, because you need to get good support on the back and stuff. But yeah, without rambling on, that's my main point in terms of the engineering. Now, in terms of form and function, which is basically, you know, the articulation, we'll just go over that. You could see it does have a, you know, well, it's kind of like, it's mostly friction, but you could hear there is some ratchets. You have to maneuver this a certain way to engage it, so I'm not sure of how well they did with the ratchet, because normally, you know, it should be like other areas where it's just click, click, click. This one, you could see it's like friction, but then it's like a ratchet. So I don't know, maybe it's because the teeth are really wide, you know, maybe they're not close enough or something like that. But either way, it holds up really well. And then you could see the way they engineered it here. It does have a ratchet going, well, you know, so it's like a toe tilt up and then toe tilt down. Not really a toe, this is more like his toe, but you know, the foot. And even the toe does have the articulation up and down, extra articulation. That part doesn't really matter so much. And then what else? Oh, the up here. Okay, let's come up a little bit more. So we could see up here, obviously this is going to ratchet. And this is interesting. I pointed out, you know, that's why I do suggest watching all my reviews, not because I'm trying to, you know, I'm a monetized channel, I'm trying to get you to produce more views. No, here I'm making it clear because I can't point everything out on every video. So I point a little bit out here, here, here. So if you watch all of them, then you could see everything. And then maybe that might help me to save time, you know, trying to repeat what I already said in another video. But here I'm telling you, you know, the double hinge, you have to engage the right one. So this one, yeah, so it's like you have to, I mean, you can kind of do it, but I think it's meant to engage this way, the bottom one. But I guess for extra articulation, you can have that. See these ratchet, yeah, so you can hear this ratchet. It sounds really good. This one, you see the difference? Yeah, so it's the execution, and there's probably a reason why, I'm not sure, but the main thing is just to focus. Does it hold up? Yes, it holds up. And then yeah, see all the attention to detail. This doesn't swivel. You know, they took the time to focus in all the details, so they, you know, have these parts so you could stabilize it. That's what I'm talking about. This is really, man, this is really amazing. So yeah, here's a look. I just said too much. So here's a look at Mixmaster in his alt mode. I mean, in his combined mode.
Phase 2!
And now for some comparisons, let's bring out the Scrapper in his combined mode, because obviously we don't have fans toys or X-Trans bots to compare this with. So now you can see what this is starting to look like. I'm just telling you, I'm gonna waste your time just rambling on again. I had to transform this all again, no instructions, not even watching my video for instructions. So I took a lot of time to figure out how to do it. So again, go through that process. I see how they design things, the engineering. So I really can appreciate it, just like I already mentioned here, because they really put a lot of attention to all the little details. Okay, I'm not going to waste time pointing them all out, but hopefully you can take my word for it the way it's done. Yeah, this is done really well. So now let's do this. Let's compare this with the animation model, so you could see just how well they captured the toon aesthetics. And you could see that, again, they're doing a really nice job. There's no wheels here for like the G1 toy look and stuff. Okay, I'm trying to learn how to keep things simple. So yeah, this is done really well. Yeah, you could see even the back. I think it cleans up fairly well. Like I always said, no one really looks at the back. So I mean, no one poses their figures in the back either. So it doesn't really matter to me, as long as there's not like major kibble showing back there. I think it's done really well. Now, in terms of articulation, here I just want to point out, one of my friend, I'll call him a friend on my YouTube channel. He commented, okay, here I'm just telling you things I noticed. Yeah, I don't know, I shared too much. Stuff, I told you, like, I quit product design to focus on nutrition, so I went back to school, and there are certain classes that are required, such as like, other than chemistry, biology, and stuff like that. I mean, you have psychology. So there, I have to learn to identify and recognize people's character disposition. And I'm trying to find a short way to tell you. It's just their dialogue, what they say, how they say it, the context, and you look at their behavior, how they respond, such as breaking figures. You know how to identify their true character disposition. But anyways, here I'm just wanted to say he's smart enough to ask questions, because I don't know if I did point it out in the review, which is the stability of this. And here I'm always being honest. So I'm telling you, there is concern. Well, first I'm going to point out, it's hard to say when you don't have the complete set. So here I'm just giving you my analysis based on what we have so far. So that means what I'm saying, you just have to take it for a grain of salt based on my analysis here. So first, I'm admitting that yes, this part does not really seem all that stable. So okay, so I'm trying to find ways to demonstrate to you. Okay, so you could see, yeah, this front part does not seem all that stable. And here's how I try to analyze it. So we know that there's long haul, hook, and then scavenger, and bone crusher, right? So that's 4. So you have to basically try to look at it this way. So times 4, the weight of this times 4, putting it on here. And then you could see how well is it going to hold up. And then I'm going to waste your time because I'm being very thorough with my analysis with everything. So normally, people complain back heavy. So if it is back heavy, then you could see it is going to be somewhat stable, right? Even if they, rotate the Devastator's arm forward. But it is still a little concerning here, but you can't really speak to it until you actually have the whole thing in hand. So yeah, I'm just admitting that yes, this part, yeah, you see, it is a little concerning because all the attention to detail they put here, I don't know if it was an oversight or maybe they felt they didn't need to lock this place or they wanted to keep like the articulation going forward. Yeah, so that's just the best I can answer and admit to you. Yes, despite every positive thing I'm saying about the figure, nothing's perfect. So here I'm just pointing out, yes, this is a concern, but see, I go on and on because I'm very thorough. So, yeah, I mean, you're just looking at the one leg. People don't walk and stand on one leg. That's why you have this as a stability. And in design, you know that the most solid structure is a triangle. So that's why, the A stands. So you could see it's not just holding here, it's also holding down here. So this, I don't know how much this is going to help to compensate for this issue. And then for me, what I'm, thinking of doing when I, look at everything I just pointed out, well, that's why probably you need to engage. Sometimes other figures are the same way, to get a good balance, you do need to, like, yeah, even actually the other Devastators, like the Hasbro Combiner Wars and stuff, to get the stability, you do have to tweak the articulation a certain way. So maybe it needs to be positioned this way. You could see it's forcing the weight to go back away from here where it doesn't seem all that secure. But anyways, I ramble on too much. And I just wanted to respond to, my friend who was smart enough to really think critically and ask questions. And so that's why I was speaking to that because, I recognize that. And those are the kinds of people that, you want to support those people. Yeah. But anyways, here's a look at that. So just to end the review, I'm just going to end my review here and just say, so this is what we have so far. So far, everything is looking really good. Oh, there's one last thing I wanted to point out. Yeah, because, people, one reason people might not be interested in this, excuse me, is because the scale, it doesn't meet the standard, this 22, 23 inch tall. But I realized that this would fit in perfectly with Magic Square and New Age. So here, take a look at this. So here is Auto Spike. I mean, they never appeared in the cartoon, but here you could see the scale I'm referring to. Like Optimus here, the scale is almost perfect. So it's almost like this is perfect for your mini masterpiece collection, or or New Age or Magic Square. But yeah. I just thought I'd point that out because, both it doesn't have that nice paint finish like Fans Toys X Transwas, but this is consistent with like Magic Square. That's what I'm speaking to. And the Magic Square Devastator is great. It'd be nice if they made a masterpiece scale of it. But right now, I'm just telling you, whoa, I can now appreciate another thing, not just robot mode, which is I'm going to keep it for, but I can have fun easily transforming this into combined mode and then put this with the Magic Square collection. Oh yes, this looks really good. Anyways, I tend to always go on and on, but hopefully that helped in some way. So I'll just end the review again saying this is what it looks like, and really looking forward to completing this set.